There have been worse years in my lifetime, 1968, but this is a pretty bad one. Actually, I'm not sure 1968 was worse. Vietnam was raging, and thousands of Americans died in combat, and cities were aflame, and assassinations. That's all I've always said. That's the worst rule. But this virus, which is back with a vengeance, the third wave of the virus is rolling across the United States, and you really have to take care of the people who are fragile in your life. Now, I personally know people who have recovered, and it said it was a mild cold, and I know someone who died. So I have the full spectrum of friends who've been sick with it, and I haven't had it yet. No one in my family is, thank God, and I hope we don't get it, and I hope the vaccine arrives before any of us get it. But you've heard Michael Shear of the New York Times talk on this program what it's like, and I've talked to Robert O'Brien, the National Security Advisor, about what it's like, and the whole country watched President Trump when he had it, and he had the mildest of cases and the best of treatment, but it has killed upwards of 250,000 people in the United States and around the world, millions, and it's just on fire everywhere. I've said from the beginning, since December of last year when it appeared in Wuhan, that my nightmare was the great influenza of 2018 and that 1918, and that book remains so relevant because the influenza of 1918 began in the spring of 1918 and killed some people, then sort of subsided in the summer, and then roared back in a mutated form, much more deadly in the fall. I have not seen any science that suggests that the virus is mutated and will outrace the vaccine, but we do need that vaccine. I was very happy with the president's comments on Friday about Operation Warp Speed and how quickly and thoroughly we will be distributing it. But it still takes time. It still is possible, and so there's hope. On the election front, the facts. All right, the facts. I have just tweeted out the facts, and I want to give them to you. So we begin the broadcast with facts. It's a fact-based show. President-elect Biden beat President Trump in Arizona by 11,024 votes. He beat President-elect Biden beat President Trump by 14,151 votes in Georgia. President-elect Biden beat President Trump by 20,467 votes in Wisconsin, and President-elect Biden beat President Trump by 63,577 votes in Pennsylvania. Note, I'm using the term president-elect. The reason I'm doing so is that there is not presently any way for this to go any other way. In other words, there is no lawsuit, there is no theory of the case, there is no appeal to the unicorn of the state legislatures magically convening and overturning the Electoral College. That is more radical than packing the Supreme Court. There's an election that President Trump narrowly lost. And I have a column in the Washington Post about how the next 60 days will shape his memoirs, his presidential library, his legacy, his standing in 2022 and 2024. And 3,500 comments later, all the leftists hated, evidently. I didn't read it because the Browns were winning yesterday, and that's what I do. I don't read comments. I watch the Browns win in weather that is reminiscent of my youth. The Browns really... Kevin Stefanski said that it was the worst weather he'd ever played a football game in, the coach of the Browns, and it was pretty bad. My nephew used my tickets, took his wife and his two kids, and they left at halftime, and he's a hearty soul. He's a young, hearty soul, but it was just brutal. But the Browns dug it out. Both Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt had more than 100 yards. It was a great game, great fun to watch. So I'd rather watch football on Sunday after my ministrations and my prayers. We did not go to church. I suspect our church will close again. Which brings us, the Catholic dispensation for people over 60 continues for math, and I believe that that will spread across the United States. You just got to be very, very careful. But that brings me to Angel Tree. In December, I have always supported Angel Tree, the prison fellowship ministry to the 2.7 million children who have one or both parents in jail and in prison, and always on the church patio. There has been a tree that the Fetching Mrs. Hewitt usually does the work, of course, but I try and help and pick out the kids. And you go grab a bunch of names of kids and you bring presents for them, marked out with a note. And Prison Fellowship would deliver them to those children, usually combined with a note from their parent in prison so that they would have some Christmas joy. Christmas is not going to be canceled. I mean, Jake Tapper misspoke yesterday, cut number 8.
The vaccine, it's got to be deployed, and we can't abandon fundamental public health measures. You can approach a degree of normality while still doing some fundamental public health things that synergize with the vaccine to get us back to normal.
So not until the second or third quarter of 2021, though. Christmas is probably not going to be possible.
That's not true. And Jake would take those words back if he could. He's going to say Christmas is going to be different. Christmas is going to be different because, you just can't have caroling and work parties and gatherings and midnight mass is not going to be midnight mass. The elderly are not going to go to midnight mass. The vast family gatherings and some will happen. It will be ill-advised to bring grandma and grandpa to them. Really ill-advised. But those gifts will still be exchanged, right? People will still shop. Amazon is going to do great. And the kids with a parent in prison are not going to get the gifts that Angel Tree gives if they only rely on the church patio, which is where Angel Tree normally works its best. They ask believers to, in effect, visit the imprisoned, which is in command of the gospel, to visit people who are in prison, to do so via Angel Tree. And I've got a banner over at HughHewitt.com for Angel Tree. And I've just tweeted it out. And I would love for you to go. Now, it costs $22 to deliver one present to one kid. So I'm asking you at the beginning of your Christmas shopping to please dig down and give 220 or 440. 220 is 10 kids. They serve hundreds of thousands of children. And that number will plummet if people don't remember that what they normally, there's usually visual cues at this time of the year. This is before Thanksgiving. Normally it starts after Thanksgiving, but I'm starting early. All the visual cues are gone. Oh, there's the prison fellowship table. And every church patio in America is the same. Every church patio in America is the same. And people are having donuts and coffee. It's when adults allow themselves to have donuts. And people are chatting and talking and criticizing the sermon generally. I'm sorry, pastors, that happens. I try never to criticize the sermon because I've been in too many lines to shake too many hands of too many pastors where I've heard people criticize them. But then they walk out and they get their coffee and they see the prison fellowship Angel Tree table. Well, all we have is a virtual table. If you go over to HughHewitt.com, you're going to see two things. You're going to see the petition to audit the vote, verify the vote, and I think that ought to go forward, even though it is clear to me that President-elect Biden has won. And I really believe you should care about election integrity a lot. But when you go over to HughHewitt.com, look around a little bit. I'm going to try and get it moved to the top because it's not quite at the top. It's below my smiling face. You'll see Angel Tree, give Angel Tree Christmas. At the very top, it says verify the election, sign the petition, and that's for people who want additional steps taken to do a sort of forensic look at what went wrong and what went right in the election. But right below that, you'll see blog, transcript, video, podcast, book club, universe. Give an Angel Tree Christmas. That's where I really want you to go this morning and let them get started because right now they've got to do triage. I really don't know how any charity that depends upon the jolly season of Christmas is going to survive. Everyone is going to be a little bit like Scrooge. Are there no workhouses? Don't be a Scrooge. Be a Christian, be a believer in anything, and go to that website, Give an Angel Tree Christmas. You can get there at HughHewitt.com. You can check my Twitter feed. Please be generous. I'm going to talk about it every day, just like the Georgia runoff, because I really need you to be generous this year. Because with the churches closed, these kids are not going to have Christmas unless you help them. I'll be right back. 1-800-520-1234.